There are many diverse characters in the Emmy Award-winning program Arcane. They all have unique motivations and histories, and they come together over the course of the show to form a wide variety of traumatized factions, friendships, and rivalries. The fact that individual stories and character nuances can only be explored for a finite amount of time is one of the bigger issues with developing a narrative within a vast, highly complex world like Piltover and Zon. Riot Games and Fortich Productions excel at giving the audience just enough background information to comprehend what is happening and relate to the reasons behind characters' actions while still implementing the world-building technique of partially told stories, which sets them apart from many other animated programs. This is the practice of giving audiences glimpses into the lives and backstories of characters without ever fully developing them. This not only reduces the amount of information that must be displayed on screen, but also gives the Arcane universe a lived-in appearance, making it seem more like our own. The relationship between the titular hero Vander and the series' primary antagonist Silco, as well as the motivation behind Vander's attempt to kill Silco, is one such incompletely told tale that is never adequately explained. The two opposing characters have a history together and are practically brothers, as is made clear in the first few episodes. They may not be biologically related, rather, they are chosen brothers, two individuals who likely grew up alone on the streets and watched out for one another. They both agreed on the concept of a free zone, which they probably came up with in order to rebel against the oppression and degrading treatment they were subjected to at the hands of Piltover's authorities. At first glance, it might be obvious why the two characters split up so dramatically when considering the two characters as a whole. Vander has largely adopted pacifist principles, putting aside his knuckle-duster punching weapons, and choosing to govern the people of the Undercity in a controlled and peaceful manner. Silco, in contrast, is a man of indirect violence and destruction. Peace is achieved through diplomacy when he strikes deals with the enforcers. However, Silco is a man who is ready to fight. In order to gain power and control, he is prepared to engage in direct combat with those who rule the Undercity by coercing others into using the highly addictive shimmer. However, the flashback scene that depicts Vander and Silco fighting in contaminated water casts doubt on this notion because it appears to have occurred before Vander's pacifist tendencies developed. Possibly even teenagers, the two appear young. As evidenced by the fight scene on the bridge in the first episode, Vander continues to act violently for a very long time after this. Here, he was leading the charge and engaging in bloody combat to achieve his goals, much like Silco would. So why did they split up years ago? The two specific issues that the Undercity is dealing with, oppression and indignity, are the solution. Even the violent Vander of old found that building the lanes was the best way to address the issues facing his people. He organized a group of people to help the Undercity's oppressed people regain their dignity. He inspired his people to the point where, as a result of their love for one another, they can live with pride. Independence and dignity follow a stable family environment. The only way, in Silco's opinion, to give the Undercity some dignity again is to terrorize those who oppose them and instill in them a fear of both him and the Zonians. Though he does not necessarily support going to war and destroying Piltover, he works to instill in them a sense of dread over his potential to do so. By stopping them from sending down enforcers to intimidate his people, he finally commands respect. To Piltover, he establishes himself as a formidable foe, and when the time is right, he subdues them until they are too terrified to defend themselves. In order to gain power and control, he doesn't care how he gets there. Instead, he floods the streets with shimmer. He thinks it will all be worth it in the end, all the pain and suffering he causes. Vander himself points out that Silco's main driving force is respect, which comes with power. You had my respect, the lane's respect. But that was never enough for you. Silco aspires to be respected, but his actions are driven by an even more perverted sense of pride. The respect he receives from those around him is not enough for him. Instead, he advances to instill fear in others so that they will respect him no matter what. This describes almost everything he does because even the words he uses to speak are laced with subliminal threats. He takes on the persona of the Eye of Zon, a figure that the unfortunate people of the Undercity consider to be almost divine. When Vander realized the course Silco was taking, he realized that the only way to stop him from obliterating everything in his path to respect was to kill him. Because of his failure to do so, they went in opposite directions before abruptly coming back together at a time when neither of them could have anticipated rejection. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and support my channel Lesser Than 3.